The night begins with a soft whisper of wind moving gently through an endless open sky, as if the atmosphere itself is breathing in a slow and peaceful rhythm. Far above the sleeping world, clouds drift like quiet travelers across the dark blue canvas of the heavens, carrying stories of ancient storms that once shaped the lands below. In this calm moment before sleep, the idea of a storm may seem distant, even mysterious, yet storms are among the most powerful and poetic expressions of nature. They are not only displays of thunder and lightning, but slow, patient processes that begin long before the first raindrop touches the ground. Tonight, we drift into the science of storms, not with urgency or fear, but with gentle curiosity, allowing the mind to wander as the sound of distant thunder becomes a soft lullaby for the imagination. Long before a storm forms, the air itself begins to prepare. Warm air rises slowly from the surface of the earth, carrying tiny invisible particles of water vapor with it. This warm air feels lighter, so it floats upward, just as a balloon gently lifts into the sky. As it rises, the air cools, and the water vapor begins to transform into tiny droplets, forming clouds that gather silently, almost like a dream taking shape. These clouds may look peaceful from a distance, soft and white in the golden light of sunset, yet within them, energy is quietly building. The sky is not rushing. It is patiently arranging the conditions for something extraordinary to unfold. In the higher layers of the atmosphere, cooler air drifts alongside warmer currents, creating slow, invisible rivers of motion. The meeting of warm and cool air is one of the gentle beginnings of a storm. This meeting is not sudden, but gradual, like two calm streams merging into one deeper flow. As the clouds grow taller, they stretch upward toward the colder regions of the sky, forming towering structures that can span kilometers in height. From the ground, these clouds may appear majestic and calm, but inside them, tiny ice crystals and water droplets swirl in slow, spiraling patterns, carried by rising and falling air currents that move like slow breaths within a sleeping giant. Lightning, one of the most mesmerizing features of storms, begins its story in complete silence. Within the heart of a growing storm cloud, tiny particles of ice and water gently collide. Each collision transfers a small electric charge, slowly separating positive and negative energies within different parts of the cloud. This separation builds quietly over time, like the slow winding of a clock. There is no rush, no sudden movement, only the patient gathering of energy until the moment arrives when the sky releases a soft yet brilliant flash of light. Even then, the lightning's journey is incredibly fast, but its preparation is slow, calm, and almost meditative, reminding us that powerful moments often grow from long periods of quiet. Thunder follows lightning like a deep, rolling echo, traveling across the sky with a voice that can sound distant and soothing when heard from far away. Thunder is simply the sound of air expanding rapidly as it is heated by the lightning's intense energy. This sudden expansion creates waves that travel through the atmosphere, reaching our ears as a low rumble or a gentle roll, depending on how far the storm is. When you hear thunder softly murmuring in the distance, it is as if the sky is speaking in a slow, ancient language, telling stories of energy moving through the vast space above the sleeping earth. Rain, the soft companion of storms, begins as tiny droplets that form high in the clouds. These droplets grow slowly as they collect more moisture, becoming heavy enough to drift back down toward the ground. The journey of a single raindrop can take many minutes, floating through layers of air that differ in temperature and density. Some drops evaporate before they ever reach the earth, while others continue their gentle descent, finally landing on rooftops, leaves, and quiet streets. The sound of rain tapping against surfaces has a rhythm that many people find calming, a natural white noise that mirrors the steady pulse of the world itself. Storms are not only dramatic events, they are part of a delicate balance that keeps the planet alive. They help move heat from warmer regions to cooler ones, redistributing energy across the earth in a slow, continuous cycle. They carry fresh water to dry lands, nourish forests, and cleanse the air of dust and pollution. Even the winds of a storm, though sometimes strong, play a role in mixing the layers of the atmosphere, keeping the global system in motion. In this way, Storms are not disruptions, but gentle corrections, reminders that the planet is always adjusting, always breathing in its own vast and complex rhythm. As you listen to the imagined sound of distant rain and thunder, it becomes easier to see storms not as chaotic forces, but as carefully choreographed dances of air, water, and energy. Each cloud forms with patience, each lightning flash with purpose, each raindrop with a quiet journey of its own. The sky does not hurry, and neither should we. In the slow unfolding of a storm, there is a lesson in stillness, in allowing processes to take their time, in trusting that even the most powerful moments are born from gentle beginnings. As the night grows deeper and the world becomes quieter, the story of storms continues softly above us, an endless, soothing rhythm playing in the background of our dreams. The storm that once seemed distant now drifts slowly closer, not with urgency, but with a quiet presence that fills the sky like a deep, calming breath. The clouds stretch across the horizon in long, soft layers, their edges glowing faintly under the pale light of the moon. Within these vast formations, countless tiny movements are taking place, each one subtle and unhurried, each one contributing to the gentle evolution of the storm. The atmosphere is never still, even when it appears calm, and this constant motion is what allows storms to exist as part of the Earth's slow and endless rhythm. High above the ground, invisible currents of air rise and fall in graceful patterns, like waves moving through a quiet ocean of sky. Warm air drifts upward, cool air settles downward, and in their meeting, a delicate exchange of energy unfolds. This exchange is not violent by nature. It is a soft negotiation between temperatures, pressures, and moisture. As warm air rises, it carries with it the memory of the surface below, the warmth of sunlit land, the moisture gathered from oceans and rivers. As it cools, it releases that moisture, forming the thick, layered clouds that quietly announce the presence of a storm long before any sound is heard. Inside the heart of these clouds, time seems to move differently. Tiny droplets of water float beside fragile crystals of ice, suspended in slow motion by gentle upward winds. They drift together, separate, and meet again in an endless dance that repeats itself thousands of times within a single cloud. Each meeting is a small event, almost invisible, yet together they build the weight and structure of the storm. There is no single moment when a storm suddenly appears. It is born from countless small interactions, each one simple, each one essential. The air within a storm cloud can rise for kilometers, lifting moisture higher and higher into colder layers of the atmosphere. As the temperature drops, water changes its form, becoming ice, then melting again as it falls through warmer air. This continuous transformation creates a slow circulation within the cloud, a gentle engine powered by the natural differences in temperature between Earth's surface and the upper sky. The storm is not forcing itself into existence. It is simply following the quiet rules written into the fabric of the atmosphere. Far below, the land waits in stillness. Fields, forests, cities, and oceans lie under the wide umbrella of the sky, unaware of the precise moment when the first raindrop will fall. The surface of the Earth slowly releases the heat it gathered during the day, sending warmth upward into the cooling night air. This exchange of heat continues long after the sun has disappeared, feeding the processes that shape clouds and guide storms along their gentle paths. Even in darkness, the planet is busy, softly sharing energy with the sky above. As the storm matures, the cloud's form grows taller, stretching upward like a mountain made of mist. The upper regions of the cloud spread outward, forming wide, anvil-like shapes that glide silently across the sky. These shapes are signs of balance, where rising air reaches a point where it can rise no further and must spread sideways instead. This spreading is calm and graceful, creating vast, smooth patterns that can be seen from great distances, glowing faintly under moonlight or starlight. The wind that surrounds a storm is often gentle at first, a slow movement of air that brushes across the surface of the Earth. It carries with it the scent of distant rain, a cool freshness that seems to soften the edges of the night. This wind is part of the storm's quiet conversation with the world below, a way of announcing its presence without noise or urgency. Long before thunder speaks, the wind whispers, inviting the land to prepare for the coming rain. Storms travel, not because they choose to, but because the atmosphere itself is always in motion. Large patterns of wind high above the Earth guide storms along invisible pathways, carrying them across continents and oceans. These pathways are shaped by the rotation of the planet, the warmth of the sun, and the slow circulation of air between equatorial regions and the poles. In this vast system, each storm is a traveler, drifting along currents that have existed for millions of years, moving in harmony with forces far greater than itself. There is a quiet beauty in knowing that every storm is part of something larger, a single moment in a never-ending flow of energy around the planet. The rain that falls tonight may have once been part of an ocean, lifted into the sky by the warmth of the sun, carried across great distances by gentle winds, and returned to the earth to begin its journey again. This endless cycle connects clouds to rivers, rivers to seas, and seas back to clouds, creating a rhythm that continues whether we are awake or asleep. As the storm continues its slow approach, the world below remains peaceful, bathed in soft darkness. The sky holds its secrets gently, revealing them only through subtle changes in light and motion. In this calm before the rain, there is a sense of quiet anticipation, not of drama, but of continuity. The storm is simply another breath in the long, slow breathing of the earth, a reminder that even the most powerful forces in nature move with patience, following patterns as old as the planet itself. The rain finally begins to fall, not in a rush, but with a gentle patience that mirrors the slow rhythm of the storm above. The first drops touch the earth lightly, as if the sky is testing the surface below, feeling its way into the world. Each drop carries a long journey within it, a memory of rising from oceans, lakes, and rivers, drifting silently through layers of air, gathering in clouds, and now returning home. The sound of rain is soft at first, almost like a whisper, creating a calm melody that blends with the quiet of the night. As more droplets join the descent, the rhythm of rainfall deepens, forming a steady pattern that seems to slow the heartbeat of the world. The ground receives this water with quiet acceptance, allowing it to soak into the soil, flow along hidden paths, and nourish roots that stretch beneath the surface. In forests, rain gathers on leaves and branches, forming tiny streams that glide from one surface to another before reaching the earth below. In cities, it traces gentle lines along windows and rooftops, reflecting the distant glow of lights in soft, trembling patterns. Everywhere it falls, rain carries with it a sense of renewal, a quiet promise of balance being restored. Within the clouds, the process of rainfall continues endlessly, even as water leaves the sky. Tiny droplets collide and merge, growing heavier with each meeting, until gravity slowly draws them downward. Some fall as rain, others as snow or hail, depending on the temperature of the air they pass through. This transformation is not sudden, but gradual, shaped by the invisible layers of warmth and cold that wrap around the planet. The storm does not choose its form. It simply responds to the gentle rules of physics that guide every movement in the atmosphere. Lightning flickers again within the distant clouds, illuminating their vast shapes for a brief moment before darkness returns. The flash reveals towering forms that stretch upward like silent mountains of vapor, reminding us of the immense scale of the sky above. Yet even this powerful light is born from tiny interactions, from countless small charges building slowly over time. In this way, storms reflect a quiet truth about nature, that the grandest displays often grow from the smallest beginnings, and that patience is woven into the fabric of every powerful event. Thunder follows, rolling softly across the sky, its voice softened by distance and the thick layers of air it travels through. The sound arrives not as a sudden shock, but as a deep, calming murmur, like the low voice of the night itself. This rolling echo is the sound of energy moving through space, of air expanding and relaxing again after the intense heat of lightning. Even in its power, thunder can feel gentle when heard from afar, a reminder that nature's strength does not always have to be loud or frightening to be felt. The rain cools the air as it falls, carrying with it a refreshing stillness that settles over the landscape. Warm surfaces release heat into the passing drops, and the air around them shifts, becoming softer, calmer, more inviting. This cooling effect is part of how storms help regulate the temperature of the earth, moving heat away from the surface and redistributing it through the atmosphere. In this quiet exchange, the storm plays a role in maintaining balance, gently adjusting the planet's energy like a careful hand smoothing the surface of water. As the storm moves slowly across the land, it leaves behind subtle changes that may not be noticed at first. The scent of rain lingers in the air, a fresh, earthy aroma that rises from wet soil and leaves. Tiny pools form in shallow spaces, reflecting fragments of the night sky in trembling mirrors. The world feels slightly renewed, as if the storm has washed away more than dust, carrying off a layer of heaviness and leaving behind a softer, cleaner stillness. These changes are small, but they are part of a continuous cycle of renewal that storms quietly provide. High above, the cloud structures begin to shift, their once towering forms slowly relaxing as the storm releases its stored energy. The upward currents of air weaken, and the cloud's edges soften, drifting apart into thinner layers. The storm is not ending suddenly, it is gently unwinding, returning the atmosphere to a calmer state. This gradual fading mirrors the way all natural processes resolve themselves, not with sharp endings, but with slow transitions that blend one state into another. As the rain continues its steady rhythm, the night grows deeper and quieter. The world below settles into a calm that feels earned, as if the storm's gentle work has prepared the land for rest. In the soft glow of distant lights and the quiet reflection of water on dark surfaces, there is a sense of peaceful continuity. The storm, though still present, has become part of the background of the night, its presence soothing rather than disruptive. In this moment, it is easy to drift into sleep, carried by the slow, steady breathing of the sky as it continues its endless, gentle cycle above the resting earth. The storm begins to drift onward, carrying its quiet energy across the sleeping land, leaving behind a softened world that feels lighter and calmer than before. The clouds thin gradually, their heavy forms loosening into long, gentle streaks that stretch across the night sky. In their slow movement, there is a sense of release, as if the sky itself is exhaling after holding a deep breath for many hours. The rain eases into a fine mist, barely audible now, touching the ground with the lightest of kisses before fading into the darkness. Above the earth, the atmosphere continues its patient circulation, guiding moisture and warmth through invisible pathways that wrap around the planet. Even when a storm seems to pass, the processes that created it remain in motion, quietly shaping the conditions for future clouds and distant rains. The sky never truly rests. It only changes its rhythm, shifting from one gentle pattern to another in an endless, flowing sequence. This continuous motion is part of what keeps the planet alive, allowing energy to move freely between the surface and the vast space above. Far out over the oceans, new clouds are already forming, drawn upward by the warmth of sunlit waters that released their heat long before night fell elsewhere. These distant clouds gather slowly, unaware of the lands they may one day pass over, guided only by the great, slow rivers of air that circle the globe. Storms are not isolated events, but chapters in a much longer story, written across continents and seas by the steady movement of the atmosphere. Each storm carries within it the memory of places it has never touched, shaped by energy exchanged across vast distances. The winds that once whispered through trees and across open fields now soften, settling into a gentle flow that brushes lightly against leaves and quiet streets. This calming of the air is part of the storm's natural rhythm, as the differences in temperature and pressure that once drove strong movement slowly fade. As balance returns, the atmosphere finds a quieter state, one that feels restful after the slow drama of rain and thunder. In this balance, there is a subtle harmony, a sense that the world has found its steady footing once more. In the high reaches of the sky, where the air is thin and cold, the remnants of storm clouds drift like pale shadows against the stars. These thin layers of ice crystals reflect faint light, creating soft halos around the moon and distant points of starlight. Such gentle displays are reminders that even after a storm's energy has been released, traces of its presence linger in delicate forms. The sky holds onto these remnants briefly, before allowing them to fade into the greater quiet of the night. Below, water that fell from the clouds begins its slow return journey across the land. Some of it seeps into the soil, nourishing roots and feeding underground streams that move unseen beneath the surface. Some gathers in small channels, flowing quietly toward rivers that will carry it onward to lakes and seas. This slow movement of water is as much a part of the storm as the rain itself, completing a cycle that connects sky to ground and ground back to sky. In this gentle flow, the storm continues its work long after the last raindrop has fallen. The cooling effect of the rain lingers in the air, leaving behind a freshness that seems to slow the pace of the world. Surfaces release the heat they held during the day, and the night air becomes more even, more balanced in temperature. This quiet adjustment is one of the ways storms help the planet maintain a steady climate, preventing extremes from lingering too long in one place. The storm, though temporary in appearance, plays a lasting role in the slow regulation of Earth's living systems. As the clouds drift apart, the sky opens once more, revealing a deeper view of the stars. The vastness of space feels closer in these moments of clarity, as if the storm has gently cleared a window between the Earth and the universe beyond. The stars shine steadily, unaffected by the brief turbulence below, reminding us that the processes of the atmosphere unfold within a much larger, calmer cosmic setting. The storm is both significant and small, powerful within its domain, yet part of a greater, quieter whole. In the stillness that follows, the world settles into a peaceful rhythm. The air moves softly, water rests in quiet pools, and the sky stretches wide and calm above it all. The storm has completed this part of its journey, not with a dramatic ending, but with a gentle return to balance. In this soft conclusion, there is comfort in knowing that the forces of nature, however powerful, ultimately seek harmony. As the night deepens and the land rests beneath the open sky, the memory of the storm fades into a soothing calm, leaving behind a world ready for sleep and renewal. The night grows deeper, and with it comes a quieter sky, where the remnants of the storm dissolve into long, gentle veils of cloud. The world below rests beneath this softened ceiling of air, as if wrapped in a calm blanket woven from mist and silence. The echoes of thunder have faded into memory, and the rain now exists only in the subtle dampness left behind on leaves, stones, and empty roads. In this stillness, the storm feels less like an event and more like a passing thought, something that moved through the night and left the world gently changed. High above, the atmosphere continues its endless circulation, carrying traces of moisture and warmth across vast distances. The energy that once fueled rising clouds and falling rain does not vanish. It transforms, spreading outward through slow-moving air currents that drift toward new horizons. These currents move quietly, guided by the rotation of the Earth and the subtle differences in temperature between regions of the planet. In this great, invisible flow, the story of the storm extends far beyond the place where the rain first touched the ground. Far away, over open seas and distant lands, the conditions for new storms begin to gather once more. Warm surfaces release moisture into the air, which rises gently, cooling as it ascends and forming new layers of cloud. This process repeats endlessly, a slow and patient rhythm that never truly pauses. Storms are not rare interruptions in the natural order. They are woven into the continuous movement of the atmosphere, appearing and fading as part of a larger, breathing system that wraps around the globe. The water left behind by the storm begins to make its way into the hidden pathways of the Earth. It seeps through soil and stone, joining underground flows that move slowly toward streams and rivers. Some of this water will remain beneath the surface for days, months, or even years, traveling through dark, winding channels before emerging again into the light. In this quiet journey, the storm's influence continues, nourishing life in places unseen and sustaining the delicate balance of ecosystems that depend on steady, gentle flows of water. Plants respond to the storm's passing with a silent renewal. Leaves, washed clean by rain, reflect faint light more clearly in the darkness. Roots absorb the moisture carried down from the clouds, drawing nourishment from water that once drifted high above the earth. This connection between sky and soil is one of the most intimate relationships in nature, a continuous exchange that allows life to thrive across the planet. The storm, though often associated with power and motion, leaves behind a gift of stillness and sustenance. The air itself feels different after rain, cooler and softer, carrying a subtle freshness that lingers through the night. This freshness comes from the way rain cleans the atmosphere, capturing tiny particles of dust and guiding them back to the surface. The result is a clearer, calmer air that seems to invite slower breaths and quieter thoughts. In this refreshed atmosphere, the world feels momentarily lighter, as if the storm has gently eased the weight of the day. Above, the thinning clouds reveal a sky that feels deeper and more open. Stars emerge in quiet clusters, their steady light contrasting with the brief brilliance of lightning that once filled the clouds. The calm after the storm highlights the difference between momentary energy and enduring presence. The stars, distant and constant, remind us that while storms are powerful, they are fleeting expressions within a much larger and more tranquil universe. The patterns of weather that guide storms are shaped by forces far beyond any single cloud or raindrop. The warmth of the sun, the curve of the earth, and the slow circulation of air between equator and poles all contribute to the pathways storms follow. These patterns shift gradually over seasons and years, creating variations in rainfall and wind that define climates across the world. In this broader view, each storm is part of a slow, unfolding narrative, one that connects local moments of rain to global patterns of movement and balance. As the night settles into a deeper quiet, the memory of the storm blends into the gentle background of the world's ongoing motion. The land rests, the air drifts softly, and the sky stretches wide and calm above it all. The storm has passed, but its influence remains woven into the subtle rhythms of water, air, and life. In this calm, there is comfort in knowing that the forces that shape the sky do so with patience and continuity, guiding the planet through endless cycles of change and renewal as the world slowly drifts toward sleep. The quiet that follows the storm settles gently over the landscape, like a soft veil drawn across the senses. The air holds a faint coolness, and the world seems to breathe more slowly, as if matching the calm rhythm of the night sky. Even though the rain has passed, the atmosphere continues to move in subtle ways, carrying whispers of moisture and warmth across great distances. The storm may feel complete, yet its story continues in these invisible currents that glide silently above the resting earth. Far above the surface, high-altitude winds travel along steady paths, shaped by the slow rotation of the planet and the gentle pull of temperature differences between regions. These winds act like quiet guides, steering clouds and weather systems along routes that span continents and oceans. The storm that passed through the night was carried by these same unseen pathways, moving as part of a larger pattern that stretches far beyond any single place. In this vast flow of air, no storm stands alone. Each one is part of a continuous procession of motion that circles the globe. The moisture released by the storm becomes part of a broader cycle that links sky, land, and sea. Some of the water that fell as rain will evaporate again under future sunlight, rising gently back into the atmosphere to begin its journey anew. This cycle of evaporation and condensation is one of the quiet engines of the planet, driving the formation of clouds and guiding the rhythms of weather. It is a slow, patient process, unfolding over hours, days, and seasons, connecting moments of rain to distant future storms yet to be born. The temperature of the air continues to adjust after rainfall, with cooler currents settling near the surface and warmer layers drifting above. This gentle rearrangement of heat helps restore balance in the atmosphere, smoothing out contrasts that might otherwise linger. In this quiet exchange, the storm's influence persists, not as a dramatic force, but as a subtle regulator that helps maintain the steady rhythm of the planet's climate. Even in stillness, the air is always finding its way toward equilibrium. In distant regions where the sun still warms the surface, new columns of warm air begin their slow ascent into the sky. These rising currents carry moisture upward, laying the foundation for clouds that may one day grow into storms of their own. The connection between these distant beginnings and the storm that just passed is part of a continuous chain of events, stretching across time and space. Each storm is both an ending and a beginning, a release of energy that prepares the way for future formations elsewhere. The oceans play a quiet yet powerful role in this ongoing story. Their vast surfaces absorb and release heat slowly, influencing the temperature of the air above and shaping the paths of storms across the globe. Warm ocean waters provide the moisture and energy that fuel many large storm systems, lifting water vapor into the sky where it can gather into clouds. In this gentle exchange between sea and sky, storms find both their source and their direction, guided by the steady presence of the world's largest bodies of water. The land, too, responds to the storm's passage in ways that are subtle and enduring. Soil moisture influences how heat is absorbed and released, shaping the temperature of the air near the ground. Wet surfaces cool more slowly than dry ones, affecting the gentle movements of air that flow across fields and forests. These small differences, spread across vast areas, can influence the development of future weather patterns, showing how even a single storm leaves traces that ripple outward into the broader system. As the clouds thin and the sky clears further, the quiet vastness of the night becomes more apparent. The stars shine steadily, and the moon casts a soft glow over the landscape, reflecting off lingering pools of water left behind by the rain. This calm scene contrasts with the dynamic processes that continue unseen in the atmosphere above. The stillness we perceive is layered over constant motion, a reminder that the world is always in gentle movement, even when it feels at rest. In this peaceful moment, it becomes easier to sense the slow, continuous heartbeat of the planet. Storms rise and fade, winds shift and settle, clouds gather and dissolve, all as part of an endless rhythm that flows through the atmosphere. The storm that once filled the sky with rain and light has now become part of this quiet background, its energy absorbed into the broader circulation of air and water. As the night deepens, the world rests beneath this calm canopy, carried forward by the soft, steady breathing of the earth itself. The night continues to unfold in layers of quiet, and the sky above feels vast and gently watchful. Where storm clouds once gathered thick and heavy, there is now an open expanse, dotted with thin veils of drifting mist. These delicate remnants move slowly, carried by high-altitude winds that trace wide arcs across the darkness. Their movement is so gradual that it feels almost still, a reminder that motion in the atmosphere does not always announce itself with sound or sudden change. Within these high layers of air, temperature differences continue to shape subtle currents. Warm air rises in distant places, cool air sinks in others, and together they maintain a gentle circulation that wraps around the planet. This circulation is the quiet engine behind the patterns of weather that repeat themselves over days and seasons. Storms are born within this larger flow, guided by it, and eventually dissolved back into it, becoming part of the same continuous motion that carries clouds across oceans and deserts alike. The memory of rain lingers in the air, not as sound, but as a faint coolness that settles softly against the skin. This coolness comes from the evaporation of remaining moisture as tiny droplets left on surfaces slowly return to the sky. Evaporation is a slow, almost invisible process, yet it plays a central role in preparing the atmosphere for future clouds. In this gentle exchange, the Earth releases water back into the air, completing a cycle that connects the quiet aftermath of a storm to the possibility of rain yet to come. Far beyond the horizon, new weather systems begin to take shape, influenced by the same global patterns that guided the storm through the night. Large-scale movements of air, driven by the uneven heating of the planet, create slow waves in the atmosphere that travel great distances. These waves can guide storms along their paths, shaping where rain falls and where skies remain clear. The storm that has passed is just one expression of these vast, slow-moving patterns, which continue their steady journey around the globe. The land rests beneath this shifting sky, holding the water it has received and releasing warmth gradually into the night. Forests, fields, and cities all respond differently to the cooling air, creating subtle variations in temperature that gently influence local winds. These small, quiet movements of air near the surface blend into the larger circulation above, connecting the immediate world we feel to the distant processes unfolding high in the atmosphere. In this way, every place on Earth is linked to the sky above it, participating in the same slow exchange of energy. The clouds that remain drift in long, stretched forms, their edges softened by the darkness. They move not with purpose, but with surrender, following the gentle guidance of the winds that carry them onward. As they thin, the stars shine more clearly, their steady light providing a calm contrast to the brief, brilliant flashes of lightning that once illuminated the sky. The transition from storm to stillness highlights the difference between momentary energy and enduring presence, between events that pass and the quiet constancy that remains. There is a subtle comfort in recognizing that storms do not disrupt the natural order, but rather express it. The rising of warm air, the gathering of clouds, the release of rain, and the slow return to calm are all part of a continuous rhythm that shapes the planet's atmosphere. This rhythm unfolds whether we observe it or not, moving with patient consistency through days and nights, seasons and years. The storm is simply one gentle movement within this vast, ongoing flow. As the night deepens, the sky seems to hold a quiet openness, inviting rest and reflection. The air moves softly, the land remains still, and the stars continue their silent watch. The storm's presence has faded into memory, yet its influence remains woven into the subtle patterns of moisture and temperature that shape the atmosphere. In this peaceful moment, it becomes easier to drift into sleep, carried by the sense that the world above and below is guided by slow, steady rhythms that continue long after the night has passed. The quiet sky stretches endlessly above the resting world, its vastness softened by thin layers of cloud that drift like slow-moving dreams. These gentle forms carry the last whispers of the storm, fading into the calm night as if dissolving into the deep blue of the atmosphere. The air feels settled now, no longer shaped by rising columns or falling rain, but guided by a steady, even flow that moves softly across the land and sea. In this stillness, the sky seems to pause, offering a moment of gentle reflection after the long, slow work of the storm. High above, the atmosphere continues its patient circulation, connecting distant regions through invisible pathways of moving air. These pathways guide moisture and warmth around the planet, shaping climates and seasons in ways that unfold over long stretches of time. Storms are brief expressions within this broader movement, moments when energy and water come together in visible form before returning to the quieter currents that carry them onward. The calm after the storm is not an ending, but a return to the deeper rhythm that underlies all weather. The cooling of the surface after rain creates gentle layers of air that settle near the ground, while warmer air lingers above. This soft layering stabilizes the atmosphere, allowing the night to grow quieter and more still. The land releases the heat it gathered during the day at a slow, even pace, and the air responds by drifting in subtle, barely noticeable movements. These delicate adjustments are part of the atmosphere's constant effort to find balance, smoothing contrasts and guiding the world back toward equilibrium. Water left behind by the storm begins to reflect the faint light of the sky, creating small mirrors across the landscape. In these quiet reflections, the vastness of the night feels closer, as if the sky has gently placed pieces of itself upon the earth. The presence of water on the surface also influences the air above, cooling it through slow evaporation and adding a soft moisture that lingers through the night. This moisture, though subtle, becomes part of the invisible reservoir from which future clouds may one day form. Far beyond the horizon, the processes that give rise to storms continue without pause. Warm air rises where the sun still warms the surface, carrying moisture upward into cooler layers of the sky. There, new clouds gather quietly, shaped by the same gentle rules that guided the storm through the night. These distant beginnings are connected to the calm now felt, part of a continuous cycle that moves through different places at different times, yet remains unified by the steady circulation of the atmosphere. The oceans remain a deep, patient presence beneath the sky, absorbing and releasing heat in slow rhythms that influence weather across vast regions. Their surface waters offer moisture to the air above, feeding the invisible streams of vapor that drift upward to form clouds. This quiet exchange between sea and sky is one of the foundations of storm formation, a steady partnership that unfolds across days and seasons. Even in calm moments, the oceans are preparing the atmosphere for future expressions of rain and wind. As the clouds thin further, the night sky opens into a deeper field of stars. Their light travels across immense distances to reach the Earth, steady and unhurried, untouched by the shifting moods of the atmosphere below. This contrast between the changing sky and the constant stars creates a gentle sense of perspective, reminding us that storms, however powerful, are brief moments within a much larger and calmer universe. The storm has passed, yet the sky continues its quiet dialogue with space beyond. In this peaceful interval, the world feels suspended between what has been and what is yet to come. The land rests, the air moves softly, and the atmosphere settles into a calm that feels both temporary and eternal. The storm's story flows onward through cycles of evaporation, condensation, and gentle circulation, weaving itself into the broader narrative of the planet's climate. As the night deepens, the sense of continuity becomes comforting, inviting the mind to relax into the slow, steady rhythms that guide the sky above the sleeping Earth. The calm that now fills the sky feels wide and unbroken, as if the night itself has settled into a deep, steady breath. The last traces of cloud drift slowly across the stars, their soft edges blurring into the darkness as they move along invisible currents. These currents, shaped by gentle differences in temperature and pressure, guide the atmosphere in long, quiet motions that span great distances. Even in stillness, the sky is never truly still, and this subtle movement carries forward the story of the storm long after its visible presence has faded. High above the sleeping world, layers of air slide past one another in slow, graceful streams. These layers move at different speeds and in different directions, creating delicate patterns of flow that shape the behavior of clouds and winds. The storm that once gathered energy within towering clouds was guided by these same patterns, rising and falling in response to gentle shifts in the surrounding air. In this way, storms are not sudden intrusions into the night, but natural expressions of the quiet structure woven into the atmosphere itself. The surface of the Earth cools gradually beneath the open sky, releasing warmth upward into the passing air. This release is slow and continuous, a gentle offering of energy that shapes the movement of air near the ground. As cooler air settles close to the surface and warmer air drifts above, a calm layering forms, creating a peaceful stability that allows the night to grow still. This quiet exchange of heat is part of the delicate balance that guides weather from one state to another, smoothing the transitions between motion and rest. The moisture left in the air after rain remains suspended in tiny, invisible droplets, adding a soft weight to the night atmosphere. This moisture influences how heat moves through the air, gently slowing the cooling of the surface and creating a mild, comforting coolness that lingers. In this subtle presence of water vapor, the storm's influence continues, shaping the texture of the night long after the sound of rain has faded into memory. Far away, where warm air continues to rise beneath distant skies, new clouds gather slowly, guided by the same patient rules that shaped the storm here. These distant formations may one day grow into storms of their own, traveling along pathways traced by global wind patterns. The movement of weather across the planet is like a slow, continuous wave, rising in one place, settling in another, always in motion, always connected. The storm that passed through this night is part of this greater flow, one moment in a chain of gentle transitions that circle the globe. The land rests quietly, holding the water it received and releasing warmth in slow breaths. Fields darken, forests stand still, and cities settle into soft pools of light reflected in lingering moisture. These reflections shimmer faintly, mirroring fragments of the sky and reminding the surface of its connection to the world above. In this quiet correspondence between ground and sky, the storm's passage becomes a gentle conversation between two vast realms, each responding to the other with patience and continuity. Above it all, the stars continue their steady presence, untroubled by the changes unfolding in the atmosphere below. Their distant light filters through the thinning air, offering a sense of calm perspective that stretches beyond the immediate rhythms of weather. This contrast between the slow constancy of the cosmos and the gentle variability of the atmosphere brings a soothing sense of scale, reminding us that storms, though powerful, are fleeting patterns within a much larger and calmer universe. As the night moves toward its deepest hours, the sky seems to soften further, embracing a quiet openness that invites rest. The air flows gently, the land remains still, and the memory of the storm settles into the background of the world's ongoing motion. In this peaceful interval, The slow, steady rhythms of the atmosphere continue their work, guiding moisture and energy along invisible paths. The storm's story drifts onward within these rhythms, becoming part of the endless, calming cycle that carries the sky forward through the long, quiet hours of night. The night deepens, and a soft hush settles over the land, wrapping fields, forests, and cities in quiet stillness. The last fragments of cloud drift lazily across the dark sky, their delicate shapes stretched and blurred by high-altitude winds. These slow-moving wisps carry traces of the storm that passed hours ago, reminders of energy released and moisture gathered. Though invisible to the eye, subtle currents of air continue their gentle motion, guiding the remaining water vapor and warmth across vast distances, maintaining the invisible rhythm of the atmosphere. The ground, damp from rainfall, slowly exhales warmth into the cooling night. Each surface, stone, leaf, or rooftop releases the heat it absorbed during the day in a soft, continuous breath. This gradual exchange of energy creates layers in the lower atmosphere, a stable layering of cooler air near the Earth and warmer air drifting above. Within these layers, gentle currents move silently, smoothing differences and guiding the air toward balance. It is in this delicate dance that storms begin, persist, and dissolve, each step as slow and careful as a deep exhale. Water left behind from the storm continues its subtle journey. Tiny streams meander across the land, gliding quietly into rivers, lakes, and hidden underground channels. Some moisture is absorbed by soil and plant roots, nourishing life that depends on slow, steady hydration. Even as the rain disappears, its influence lingers in the land and air, softening the world and preparing it for future growth. The storm's power is gentle, felt not in sudden violence, but in the patient shaping of the environment. Far above, new clouds are forming where warm air rises from distant regions. Moisture ascends in invisible streams, condenses into soft, white wisps, and drifts slowly into the night sky. These clouds may never become storms, yet they are part of the same continuous process, gathering energy and shaping the atmosphere with patience. The universe of weather is a delicate system where each movement, however small, contributes to a greater, enduring rhythm that stretches across the globe. The oceans, vast and deep, continue to breathe with a quiet power. Their surfaces release warmth and moisture gradually, feeding the atmosphere and supporting the formation of distant clouds. Even in moments of calm, the oceans influence storms far away, shaping wind patterns and guiding rainfall in ways that unfold slowly over days and weeks. In this quiet interaction, sea and sky converse through gentle exchanges of energy, maintaining a rhythm that is both subtle and profound. The night air, cool and lightly scented with the freshness of rain, carries a soft weight that invites calm and reflection. Evaporation from damp surfaces adds a faint moisture to the air, creating a gentle veil that hovers over the landscape. This moisture, though barely perceptible, contributes to the ongoing cycles that shape future clouds and storms, reminding us that even the quietest moments contain the beginnings of movement to come. Nature moves continuously, often unseen, in slow and graceful patterns. The stars shine steadily above the thinning clouds, their light untroubled by the distant ripples of wind and moisture. In their steady gaze, the night feels expansive, infinite, and serene. The contrast between the quiet constancy of the cosmos and the soft variability of the Earth's atmosphere creates a comforting perspective, showing that storms are but fleeting movements within a far larger, calmer universe. Even as energy gathers and disperses below, the stars remind us of the continuity that stretches across space and time. As the night stretches on, the world seems to settle into a rhythm that mirrors the patient cycles of the atmosphere. Gentle air currents continue to move moisture and warmth, clouds drift lazily above, and water slowly flows along the paths carved by the storm. The energy that once surged in flashes of lightning or the steady rhythm of rain has now been absorbed into the broader system, becoming part of the ongoing circulation that connects Earth, atmosphere, and oceans in a continuous, calming loop. In this quiet, expansive moment, it becomes easy to feel connected to the slow pulse of the planet. The storm, once dramatic and powerful, has now become part of the background, a gentle memory woven into the night. Its presence lingers not as force, but as a subtle influence, shaping air, water, and temperature in ways both visible and unseen. As the world rests beneath the wide, open sky, the rhythm of the storm becomes a lullaby, guiding thoughts toward calm, reflection, and sleep. The night stretches quietly, embracing the land in a gentle calm that feels almost like a soft blanket. The sky above is vast and open, dotted with scattered clouds that drift lazily across the stars. Their movement is subtle, guided by invisible streams of air that flow steadily at high altitudes. Even as the storm's dramatic presence fades into memory, these currents continue to carry energy and moisture through the atmosphere, shaping the conditions for distant clouds and storms yet to come. The earth below exhales warmth gradually, releasing the heat absorbed during the day into the cooling night air. This slow release creates delicate layers in the lower atmosphere, where cooler air rests near the ground and warmer air drifts above. Within these layers, gentle currents move quietly, smoothing differences in temperature and pressure. The air flows as if in conversation with the land, following patterns set by countless unseen forces, a continuous and patient exchange that maintains balance and calm. Water left behind by the storm continues its subtle journey across the landscape. Rainwater trickles through soil and along natural channels, nourishing roots and replenishing underground streams. Tiny pools reflect fragments of moonlight, trembling softly in the faint breeze. Even after the rain has ceased, the influence of the storm remains, shaping the environment in small, persistent ways. The land feels refreshed, carrying the quiet memory of moisture and coolness, a reminder of the gentle work storms perform long after their passing. High above, new clouds slowly begin to gather where warm air rises from distant lands and oceans. Moisture drifts upward in invisible streams, condenses into soft layers, and begins its own patient journey across the sky. Some clouds will never become storms, yet all contribute to the broader rhythm of the atmosphere. In this ongoing process, storms are both fleeting events and essential participants in a global system, part of a slow, interconnected flow that stretches across continents and oceans, linking places far apart through invisible currents of air and energy. The oceans remain a quiet but steady presence beneath the drifting clouds. Their surfaces absorb and release warmth slowly, influencing the air above and providing moisture for clouds and storms. Even when the surface appears still, these slow exchanges of heat and vapor guide the formation and movement of weather systems across the globe. In the delicate interplay of ocean and sky, storms find their energy and direction, moving along paths carved by patient, invisible forces that operate on a vast scale. The scent of rain lingers in the cool night air, subtle and calming, carrying hints of earth, vegetation, and water. This freshness seeps into the senses, inviting slower thoughts and deeper breaths. Moisture suspended in the air softens sounds and movements, adding a gentle rhythm to the night. Even the faintest trace of the storm's presence continues to shape the atmosphere, influencing the formation of clouds and the subtle motion of air that will guide future rains and storms. Above, the thinning clouds reveal a deeper view of the stars, shining steadily through the night sky. Their constant light contrasts with the temporary flashes of lightning and rolling thunder that once commanded attention. In their quiet presence, there is perspective and comfort, a reminder that storms, however powerful in the moment, are fleeting expressions within a much larger, enduring universe. The sky, in its calm expanse, reflects a patient continuity that allows the world to rest and recover. As the night unfolds, the land rests under this wide, open sky, held in the subtle embrace of lingering moisture and soft air currents. The storm's memory persists in small details: the damp soil, the gentle breeze, the quiet flow of water along hidden channels. The world continues its slow, rhythmic breathing, guided by forces that are invisible yet persistent, ensuring balance, continuity, and calm. In this gentle harmony, the storm's story becomes part of a larger narrative that stretches across the atmosphere, oceans, and land, soothing the earth into rest. The quiet intervals that follow a storm invite reflection and calm. The atmosphere continues its patient work, clouds drift softly, water moves slowly across the landscape and energy spreads evenly through the air. This ongoing circulation maintains the rhythms that guide the planet's climate and weather patterns. In the soft embrace of the night, the memory of the storm becomes a gentle lullaby, carrying the mind toward serenity, calm, and sleep as the world drifts in quiet continuity beneath the vast, starry sky. The night air is calm, carrying the subtle coolness left behind by the passing storm. The world feels heavier and softer at once, as if every tree, rock, and building has exhaled along with the earth itself. Thin, drifting clouds continue their slow journey across the sky, tracing invisible pathways that stretch far beyond the horizon. Each movement is patient and deliberate, part of the invisible choreography of the atmosphere that guides moisture, wind, and energy with quiet consistency. Far above, layers of air continue their endless circulation, moving gently in response to differences in temperature and pressure. Warm currents rise from distant regions, cool currents settle near the surface, and together they maintain the steady pulse of the atmosphere. The storm that once dominated the night sky is now only a whisper in this vast, slow-moving system, its energy dispersed into the larger flow that carries clouds, moisture, and air around the globe. The Earth itself releases warmth into the night slowly, layer by layer. Stones, soil, and leaves all radiate heat that has been stored during the day, contributing to subtle movements of air near the ground. This slow, measured exchange of energy creates stability in the lower atmosphere, allowing gentle breezes to flow and encouraging the soft layering of cool and warm air. Even in moments of stillness, the processes that shape storms continue quietly, preparing the atmosphere for future events without sudden effort. Water from the storm continues its patient journey across the land. Rainwater collects in shallow pools, runs along hidden channels, and nourishes roots deep in the soil. Evaporation returns some moisture to the air, maintaining a delicate balance between land and atmosphere. This ongoing circulation of water is slow and silent, yet essential, ensuring that the world remains hydrated, fertile, and ready for the cycles of weather that follow. The storm leaves its mark not in force, but in gentle, lasting influence. Over distant oceans, warm air continues to rise, gathering moisture that will eventually form clouds. These clouds drift slowly along high-altitude currents, moving in paths invisible to the eye but deeply connected to patterns that guide weather across continents. Each small cloud is a quiet participant in a larger system, contributing to cycles of rainfall, evaporation, and condensation that sustain life far and wide. The storm that passed is just one visible expression of these invisible rhythms, a moment of motion within a continuous, patient flow. The scent of rain lingers in the night, a soft, earthy aroma that seems to settle in the mind as well as the air. It carries hints of wet soil, vegetation, and cool water, creating a calming atmosphere that invites reflection and rest. Even as the sound of rainfall fades completely, this subtle presence reminds us that the storm's influence is not gone. It has simply shifted into quieter forms, shaping the air, the ground, and the senses in gentle ways. High above, thinning clouds drift apart, revealing more of the starry sky. The constancy of the stars contrasts with the fleeting, dynamic movement of the storm, highlighting the slow, enduring rhythms that shape the universe. Lightning has disappeared, thunder has softened into memory, and yet the energy of the storm persists, diffused into the air and land in ways both visible and unseen. The balance between movement and stillness, between storm and calm, is a quiet testament to the patient processes of nature. As the night deepens further, the world below settles completely. Water moves gently across the landscape, air drifts softly over fields and forests, and energy spreads evenly through the atmosphere. The storm's story continues in these small, subtle motions, a quiet rhythm that connects land, sky, and ocean in one continuous loop. In this peaceful interval, the night becomes a space for rest, for reflection, and for the gentle surrender that allows the mind to drift toward sleep. The night stretches quietly over the land, carrying a deep calm that feels almost tangible. The clouds that once swelled with the storm have thinned into delicate wisps, drifting lazily across the sky. They move slowly, guided by invisible currents that flow above, tracing paths shaped by temperature, pressure, and the steady rotation of the Earth. Even as the storm fades into memory, these gentle movements remind us that the atmosphere is never truly still, always carrying energy and moisture from one place to another in patient, unhurried motion. The ground below remains damp from the storm, quietly releasing the heat it absorbed during the day into the cool night air. Leaves, soil, and rooftops exhale slowly, creating subtle shifts in the lower atmosphere that encourage gentle breezes to form. These soft currents smooth the differences in temperature and pressure, fostering a balance that allows the land and air to rest. Even in stillness, the storm's influence persists, woven into the environment through moisture, temperature, and movement. Water from the storm continues its slow journey. Rain that collected in shallow pools trickles through soil and along hidden channels, nourishing roots deep beneath the surface. Some moisture evaporates into the air, returning to the clouds above to continue the endless cycle. This quiet circulation connects land, sky, and life in a seamless rhythm, showing that even after the most dramatic moments of a storm, its effects remain gently present, sustaining the Earth in small, persistent ways. Far beyond, where warm air rises from distant oceans and lands, new clouds are forming. Moisture drifts upward in invisible streams, condensing slowly into soft, floating shapes. These clouds, though distant, are connected to the atmosphere where the storm passed, part of a global system of circulation that links every region through gentle currents of air and energy. In this ongoing flow, storms are both fleeting moments and integral parts of a patient, unending cycle. The oceans themselves remain a quiet, steady presence beneath the drifting clouds. Their vast surfaces absorb and release warmth gradually, influencing air currents and moisture levels across the planet. This slow, continuous exchange provides the energy and moisture needed for clouds and storms to form elsewhere. Even when the surface seems still, the oceans are quietly shaping the weather, a calm and constant partner in the endless rhythm of the atmosphere. The scent of rain lingers in the air, faint but comforting, a soft reminder of the storm's passage. The aroma of wet soil, vegetation, and water blends with the cool night air, inviting slower breaths and deeper reflection. Even though the rainfall has ceased, the atmosphere remains infused with this subtle presence, maintaining a gentle rhythm that prepares the sky for future movement and growth. The memory of the storm is carried in every drop, every breath of wind, every shimmer of moisture. Above, thinning clouds reveal the constancy of the stars, shining steadily across the vast expanse of the sky. Their calm light contrasts with the brief brilliance of lightning that once illuminated the night, a reminder of the enduring, patient rhythm of the universe. The storm, though powerful and fleeting, has become part of this larger story, its energy now absorbed into the continuous circulation of air, water, and temperature that sustains the planet. As the night deepens, the world below settles completely. Water moves quietly along its natural paths, air drifts softly over forests, fields, and streets, and energy spreads evenly through the atmosphere. The storm's story, once vivid and immediate, now continues subtly, woven into every element of the land and sky. In this gentle harmony, the night becomes a space for calm reflection, restful thought, and gradual surrender to the steady, soothing rhythms of nature. The night feels deep and expansive, as if the world itself has drawn a soft, quiet breath after the storm. The remaining clouds drift slowly across the sky, their thin, delicate forms barely moving against the vast backdrop of stars. These clouds carry the faint traces of the storm's energy, moving gently along invisible streams of air that guide them across continents and oceans. The sky is alive with quiet motion, yet it feels calm, patient, and soothing, as if the atmosphere itself is settling into a gentle rhythm. Below, the land remains damp and refreshed, releasing warmth gradually into the night air. Leaves glisten faintly under the soft glow of moonlight, and the soil exhales slowly, carrying subtle currents of heat that mingle with cooler air drifting from shaded areas. These gentle shifts create a stable layering in the lower atmosphere, a soft, invisible movement that smooths the differences in temperature and pressure. Even in apparent stillness, the storm's presence lingers, shaping the environment with patient, quiet influence. Water left behind from the storm continues its slow journey across the landscape. Tiny streams flow through hidden channels, collecting in small pools and nourishing roots deep below the surface. Some of the moisture evaporates back into the atmosphere, rising gradually to form clouds in distant skies. This continuous cycle of water connects land, sky, and life, showing how the effects of a storm persist long after the rain has stopped. The quiet flow of water mirrors the calm, steady motion of air above, creating a seamless, relaxing rhythm. High above, warm air rises gently from oceans and sunlit lands far away. Moisture ascends in invisible streams, condensing slowly into soft clouds that drift along patient currents. These clouds are guided by the same flows that once carried the storm, part of an endless, interconnected system of motion. Every storm, every rain, every cloud is a moment within this broader pattern, a single expression of the steady, graceful dance of the atmosphere. The oceans beneath remain vast and calm, their surfaces absorbing and releasing energy slowly. This continuous exchange of heat and moisture shapes the atmosphere above, providing the subtle power that guides clouds and storms far away. Even when the world appears still, the oceans quietly influence the movements of weather across the globe. The calm presence of these waters reinforces the gentle, persistent rhythm that governs the Earth's climate, a rhythm the storm was once part of. The scent of rain lingers in the night, soft and earthy, blending with the cool air to create the sense of peace. Moisture in the atmosphere hovers invisibly, carrying the quiet memory of the storm as it prepares the sky for what may come next. This lingering presence is gentle, almost imperceptible, yet it shapes the feeling of the night, inviting slower thoughts, deeper breaths, and a calm, reflective mood. Nature continues its subtle work, moving and balancing with quiet precision. Above, the stars shine steadily, a calm counterpoint to the fleeting energy of storms. Their light travels across immense distances, unaffected by the movement of clouds and air below. The contrast between these eternal points of light and the brief, dramatic flashes of lightning reminds us of the patient, enduring patterns that govern the universe. The storm has passed, yet its energy has been absorbed into the larger system, flowing quietly through the atmosphere in ways both seen and unseen. As the night deepens, the world settles fully into calm. Water flows along its hidden paths, air drifts softly over forests, fields, and towns, and the energy once concentrated in the storm has dispersed evenly. In this gentle balance, the night becomes a space for reflection, rest, and the soothing awareness that the planet moves in patient, continuous cycles. The storm, though gone, has left a lasting impression, woven into the atmosphere, land, and oceans in a quiet, enduring rhythm that guides the world toward serenity. The night deepens further, and the sky stretches endlessly above, vast and quiet. The last thin clouds drift slowly across the stars, their soft forms almost merging with the darkness around them. They move with the patience of the atmosphere itself, guided by gentle currents that carry moisture and energy across immense distances. Though the storm has passed, its presence lingers subtly, woven into the movement of air and clouds, a quiet memory that drifts through the night. Below, the land exhales slowly, releasing the warmth it held from the day. Leaves glisten faintly with remaining moisture, and the soil radiates heat gradually into the cooling air. This slow, continuous exchange creates gentle currents near the surface, smoothing differences in temperature and pressure. Even in stillness, the storm's influence remains, shaping the atmosphere and the land with soft, persistent care, reminding us that every storm is a part of a larger, ongoing rhythm. Water continues its quiet journey after the storm. Rainwater trickles along hidden channels, gathering into small streams, nourishing plant roots, and feeding underground rivers. Some moisture evaporates back into the air, rising slowly to become clouds far away. This endless cycle connects the land, the sky, and life itself, demonstrating that the energy of a storm continues long after the last raindrop has fallen. The motion is subtle and soothing, a quiet reminder of the Earth's patient processes. Far beyond the horizon, new clouds begin to form where warm air rises over oceans and sunlit lands. Moisture ascends gradually, condensing into soft layers of cloud that drift slowly across the atmosphere. These formations may one day grow into storms, continuing the endless cycle of weather that stretches across continents and oceans. Each cloud, each current, each breeze is a gentle note in the slow symphony of the planet, connected by the invisible threads of atmospheric motion. The oceans themselves remain a quiet, steady presence beneath the drifting sky. Their vast waters absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night, subtly influencing air currents above and providing moisture for distant clouds. Even when the surface appears calm, the oceans shape weather patterns across the globe, a constant, patient partner in the flow of storms and winds. Their silent presence reinforces the gentle continuity of the Earth's atmospheric rhythm. The scent of rain lingers softly in the night air, earthy and refreshing, blending with the cool darkness to create a calming atmosphere. Moisture suspended invisibly in the air carries the storm's memory, influencing the formation of future clouds and the movement of winds. This subtle presence is almost imperceptible, yet it shapes the night, inviting slower thoughts, deep breaths, and a sense of serene reflection. Nature moves gently and continuously, even when the storm itself is gone. Above, stars shine steadily, their light traveling vast distances to reach the Earth. The calm constancy of the stars contrasts with the brief drama of lightning and thunder, reminding us that storms are fleeting patterns within a far larger, enduring system. The storm's energy has been absorbed into the ongoing circulation of air, water, and heat, now blending seamlessly into the continuous rhythm that carries the planet forward. The night feels infinite, patient, and soothing in its quiet order. As the world rests, water flows along its hidden paths, air drifts softly over forests, fields, and cities, and the energy that once surged through the storm spreads evenly through the atmosphere. The land, sky, and oceans move together in a gentle, unbroken rhythm, a cycle of balance and calm that continues without interruption. The storm story is now part of this quiet, patient flow, a subtle lullaby woven into the night, guiding the Earth and our minds toward rest and serenity. The night seems to stretch endlessly, soft and quiet, as if the Earth itself has paused to breathe. The clouds that once gathered with the storm now drift in long, thin trails across the sky, barely noticeable against the dark canvas dotted with stars. Their motion is slow, guided by high-altitude winds that carry air, moisture, and energy across great distances. The storm, though no longer visible, continues its work subtly, dispersed into these gentle currents, shaping the atmosphere in ways we cannot immediately see. Beneath this calm sky, the land exhales slowly, releasing the warmth stored during the day. Soil, rocks, and leaves all radiate heat into the cool night air, forming soft layers that encourage gentle breezes near the surface. These quiet air movements smooth the contrasts left behind by the storm, creating a stable environment for the night to settle fully. Even in apparent stillness, the storm's influence remains, quietly shaping the balance between air, water, and temperature. Water from the storm continues its patient journey across the Earth. Tiny rivulets trickle along hidden channels, joining streams and rivers, nourishing plant roots, and feeding underground aquifers. Some of this moisture rises back into the air through evaporation, joining distant clouds in faraway skies. The cycle is slow and seamless, a continuous flow connecting land, sky, and life, ensuring that the storm's energy persists gently in ways both seen and unseen. Far across oceans and distant lands, warm air rises and carries moisture upward, slowly forming clouds that drift in patient arcs along the invisible currents of the atmosphere. These clouds are guided by the same forces that directed the storm, part of the global rhythm of weather. Even when storms appear temporary and fleeting, they are intimately connected to a larger, unending pattern of motion, energy, and transformation that stretches across the planet. The oceans themselves are a silent, steady influence beneath the drifting sky. Their vast surfaces absorb heat and release moisture gradually, subtly affecting winds and guiding cloud formations in distant regions. Even when calm, the oceans remain an essential partner in the continuous flow of the atmosphere, providing the gentle energy that powers storms far away. This constant presence reinforces the quiet continuity of nature, where every movement has its place in the slow rhythm of the earth. The scent of rain lingers softly in the night air, earthy and fresh, a quiet reminder of the storm that has passed. Moisture remains suspended in the air, influencing the formation of clouds and the subtle motion of winds. This lingering presence is gentle, almost imperceptible, yet it contributes to the calming atmosphere, inviting deep breaths, reflective thoughts, and a sense of serenity. Even in absence, the storm continues to shape the night subtly and beautifully. Above, the stars shine unwaveringly, their light traveling vast distances to reach the calm earth below. They remind us of the quiet constancy of the universe, contrasting with the transient drama of storms. Lightning flashes and rolling thunder are temporary, yet the patterns of air, water, and energy they reveal persist in subtle, patient ways. The night, calm and infinite, reflects the steady balance that the storm has now joined, becoming part of the slow, enduring rhythm of the planet. As the world settles into deeper quiet, water flows along hidden paths, air drifts softly over forests, fields, and towns, and the storm's energy diffuses evenly through the atmosphere. The night feels endless, patient, and soothing. The storm's story has merged into the broader cycle of nature, a gentle, persistent rhythm that carries the earth forward, offering calm and serenity to every corner of the world beneath the vast, open sky. The night stretches like a soft, endless blanket over the earth, calm and quiet after the storm. The clouds that once moved with urgency now drift lazily, stretching into delicate ribbons across the dark sky. They glide on gentle currents high above, carrying traces of the storm's energy far across continents and oceans. Even though the storm is gone, its influence lingers in the invisible flow of air and moisture, a soft, persistent rhythm that moves without sound or urgency, shaping the atmosphere in patient, subtle ways. Beneath this quiet sky, the land exhales slowly, releasing the warmth it absorbed during the day. Leaves shimmer faintly with moisture, soil radiates heat, and rooftops emit soft warmth into the cooling night. These slow, delicate exchanges create gentle air currents near the surface, smoothing differences in temperature and pressure. The calm is not empty. It is alive with quiet motion, the subtle influence of the storm still present in the layers of air and land. Water left behind continues its journey. Tiny streams trickle over soil, flowing into rivers, lakes, and hidden underground channels. Roots drink deeply from this nourishment, and some moisture evaporates slowly into the air, rising to join clouds that drift across distant skies. This endless cycle, calm and persistent, connects land, sky, and life. The storm's energy is no longer violent. It has transformed into quiet, sustaining influence that continues to shape the world in gentle ways. Far away, warm air rises over oceans and sunlit lands, carrying moisture skyward. Clouds form gradually, drifting along invisible pathways shaped by global currents. These clouds, though distant and slow, are part of the same interconnected system that guided the storm, linking moments of energy and motion across the planet. Storms may appear isolated, yet each is woven into a patient, ongoing rhythm that stretches across time and space, reminding us that the Earth is never truly still. The oceans remain a calm, steady presence beneath the drifting clouds. Their vast waters absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night, influencing the formation of clouds and the flow of air above. Even when the surface appears motionless, the oceans provide the energy that powers storms elsewhere, guiding moisture and winds with quiet, persistent precision. Their steady presence reinforces the gentle, continuous cycle of nature, in which every storm is just one note in a much larger symphony. The scent of rain lingers softly in the cool night air, earthy and refreshing, a subtle reminder of the storm's passing. Moisture hovers invisibly above the land, shaping air currents and guiding the formation of clouds. Its presence is gentle, imperceptible, yet comforting, encouraging deep breaths and reflective calm. Even in the absence of thunder or rainfall, the night carries the quiet memory of the storm, a soothing rhythm that invites rest and serenity. Above, the stars shine endlessly, a constant presence in contrast to the fleeting drama of storms. Their steady light reminds us of the patient, enduring processes that govern the universe. The energy of the storm has been absorbed into the broader circulation of air, water, and temperature, now moving quietly and invisibly across the globe. The night feels infinite and calm, a space where the storm has become part of a gentle, ongoing rhythm that carries the world forward in serenity. As the night deepens, water continues to flow along hidden paths, air drifts softly over forests and fields, and energy disperses evenly through the atmosphere. The world rests, yet remains in constant, quiet motion, guided by forces both visible and invisible. The storm's story, once immediate and vivid, has blended into this patient cycle, a gentle, enduring presence that shapes the earth and the sky. In this calm, there is a quiet comfort, a soft lullaby carried by the steady rhythms of nature, inviting reflection and rest. The night has deepened into a soft, tranquil darkness, stretching endlessly over forests, fields, and oceans alike. The clouds that once carried the storm's energy now drift slowly, almost imperceptibly, across the sky. Their movement is guided by invisible currents high above, carrying traces of moisture and warmth far across the world. Even as the storm fades from sight, its presence continues quietly, woven into the rhythm of the atmosphere, shaping the sky with a gentle, patient energy that feels both calming and endless. Beneath this serene sky, the earth exhales warmth slowly, layer by layer. Soil, leaves, and rooftops radiate the heat stored during the day into the cool night air, creating soft currents that mingle with cooler layers above. These gentle shifts smooth differences in temperature and pressure, fostering a stable, soothing environment near the surface. The quiet movement of air and heat is a subtle reminder that the storm's influence continues, no longer in sudden flashes of rain or lightning, but in slow, comforting patterns that envelop the land. Water from the storm journeys on quietly. Rain that fell onto the land now trickles along tiny channels into streams and rivers, nourishing plants and replenishing the soil. Some moisture evaporates back into the atmosphere, rising slowly to form clouds far away, part of an endless cycle that connects land, sky, and life. The storm's energy, once dramatic, has transformed into a gentle, sustaining presence, a subtle current that flows invisibly through the world. High above, warm air rises over distant oceans and sunlit lands, carrying moisture that condenses into clouds drifting along patient currents. These clouds, though distant and slow, are connected to the atmosphere below, part of a global system that shapes weather over thousands of miles. The storm that passed is one moment in this larger, continuous flow, a fleeting expression within the enduring rhythms of the planet, reminding us of the calm persistence of nature. The oceans remain a steady, silent partner in this cycle, their vast surfaces absorbing warmth during the day and releasing it gradually into the night. This slow exchange shapes air currents and guides cloud formation, providing subtle energy for storms elsewhere. Even when the surface appears still, the oceans quietly influence weather across the globe, a reminder of the persistent, patient power underlying every storm. Their calm presence reinforces the steady, relaxing flow of the atmosphere, keeping the earth balanced and alive. The scent of rain lingers softly in the night air, faint yet refreshing, blending with the cool darkness to create a sense of peace. Moisture suspended invisibly above the land carries the quiet memory of the storm, influencing the gentle motion of air and guiding the formation of clouds. This lingering presence is soothing, almost imperceptible, inviting calm reflection, deep breaths, and a sense of serene rest. Even in the absence of dramatic weather, the night carries the subtle essence of the storm. Above, stars shine steadily, their light traveling across immense distances to reach the calm earth below. Their constant glow contrasts with the brief flashes of lightning and the rolling thunder that once marked the storm. The storm's energy has been absorbed into the ongoing circulation of air, water, and warmth, now moving quietly through the atmosphere. The night feels infinite and calm, a space where the storm has merged seamlessly into the soft, enduring rhythm of nature, offering tranquility to all below. As the night stretches on, water flows gently through hidden channels, air drifts softly over forests and fields, and energy spreads evenly across the land. The world rests, yet continues in quiet, gentle motion, guided by forces both visible and invisible. The storm's story, once vivid and immediate, now continues subtly within the patient, enduring cycles of nature. In this calm, there is quiet comfort, a sense of serenity, and a soft, gentle lullaby carried through the endless rhythm of earth, sky, and ocean. The night has grown deeper, stretching endlessly over the land and sea, wrapped in a gentle stillness. The clouds that once thundered and swirled with the storm now float slowly across the sky, thin and delicate, like whispers of movement carried on invisible currents. These currents guide them silently across vast distances, tracing paths shaped by warmth, pressure, and the subtle rotation of the earth. Even in the absence of rain and lightning, the atmosphere continues its patient work, the storm's energy dispersed into the quiet flow of air and moisture that blankets the world. Beneath the calm sky, the earth exhales warmth slowly and evenly. Soil, leaves, and rocks release the heat absorbed during the day, mingling with cooler air drifting from shaded areas. These gentle layers create soft currents that move quietly across forests, fields, and towns, smoothing differences in temperature and pressure. In this gentle interplay, the storm's influence continues, not as sudden force, but as a subtle rhythm guiding the atmosphere toward balance and calm. Water from the storm journeys onward in its quiet way. Rainwater trickles along small channels, joining streams and rivers, nourishing roots, and replenishing underground reservoirs. Some moisture evaporates into the air, rising slowly to form distant clouds, joining the patient circulation of the atmosphere. The energy of the storm has transformed into gentle, sustaining patterns, woven invisibly into the land, sky, and oceans. It persists as a soft, continuous presence, a rhythm that reassures and comforts the world beneath the night sky. High above, clouds form slowly where warm air rises over oceans and sunlit lands. They drift gently along invisible currents, connected to the patterns that once guided the storm. Each cloud, each movement of air, each gentle breeze is part of an unending cycle, linking the farthest reaches of the atmosphere in patient, silent motion. The storm, though no longer visible, remains a quiet participant in this eternal rhythm, reminding us of the enduring, calming flow of nature. The oceans continue their steady, silent influence. Vast surfaces absorb and release warmth gradually, shaping air currents and providing moisture to distant skies. Even in apparent stillness, the oceans guide weather across continents, a patient and unbroken partner in the cycles of storms, clouds, and rain. Their calm presence reinforces the slow, soothing continuity of the natural world, creating a balance that allows the earth to rest while remaining in gentle motion. The scent of rain lingers faintly in the night, carrying the quiet memory of the storm. Moisture in the air softens the world, shaping gentle breezes and influencing the formation of future clouds. This subtle presence is almost imperceptible, yet it invites reflection, slow breathing, and calm. Even without thunder or lightning, the storm's energy remains, diffused into the night, a soft, comforting rhythm that eases the mind and body toward rest. Above, the stars shine steadily, their light unwavering across the vast darkness. Their calm constancy contrasts with the fleeting intensity of storms, a reminder of the patient, enduring cycles of the universe. The storm's energy has merged into the larger rhythm of air, water, and heat, moving invisibly across the globe. The night feels infinite, serene, and safe, a space where the storm's memory becomes a gentle lullaby, guiding the world into quiet reflection and deep, soothing rest. The night stretches in an endless, tranquil expanse, a quiet world beneath the vast, starry sky. The clouds that once carried the storm's energy have now thinned into delicate wisps, drifting slowly and silently, as if the sky itself is exhaling after the drama of wind and rain. Every movement is gentle, deliberate, and calm, part of the invisible currents that weave the atmosphere into a steady, soothing rhythm. Though the storm has long since passed, its memory lingers softly, dispersed into the night, shaping air, moisture, and energy in subtle, comforting ways. Beneath the sky, the earth rests, Soil, leaves, rocks, and rooftops release their warmth gradually into the cool night air, forming layers of gentle currents that drift over forests, fields, and towns. These quiet flows smooth temperature differences and stabilize the atmosphere, creating a sense of calm that stretches across the land. The storm's energy has been absorbed into this gentle rhythm, transforming sudden motion into soft, persistent flow that carries the world forward in patient balance. Water from the storm continues its slow journey. Streams trickle into rivers and lakes, while underground channels carry nourishment deep into the earth. Some moisture rises invisibly into the sky, joining clouds far away, part of the patient circulation that sustains life. The storm's influence has shifted from forceful action to quiet, sustaining patterns, blending seamlessly into the ongoing cycles of nature. Every drop of water, every whisper of wind, continues this gentle story, a rhythm both calming and eternal. High above, clouds drift silently, guided by warm and cool currents, forming shapes that are soft, slow, and almost dreamlike. These clouds are part of the global system that shapes weather, linking distant skies and storms in a patient dance of energy and moisture. The storm, though no longer visible, remains a participant in this eternal flow, a quiet reminder of the interconnectedness of Earth, ocean, and atmosphere. The sky seems to breathe gently, carrying the story of storms in every slow movement. The oceans beneath maintain their steady, enduring presence. Their surfaces absorb warmth and release moisture gradually, guiding clouds, winds, and distant storms. Even in apparent calm, the oceans influence the atmosphere in subtle, patient ways, supporting the slow rhythm that moves across the globe. This balance between land, sky, and sea creates a gentle harmony that allows the world to rest while remaining alive with quiet motion, a lullaby written by nature itself. The scent of rain lingers softly in the night, mingling with cool air to create a comforting atmosphere. Moisture in the air shapes gentle breezes and guides the formation of future clouds, a subtle reminder that the storm's story continues. Its memory is quiet, pervasive, and soothing, inviting deep breaths, relaxation, and reflection. Even in the absence of thunder or lightning, the night carries the lingering rhythm of the storm, a soft, natural lullaby that eases the mind and body toward rest. Above, stars shine steadily, their light constant and reassuring. The contrast between the calm, eternal sky and the fleeting drama of storms reminds us that even powerful events are part of a much larger, enduring system. The storm's energy has been absorbed, dispersed, and transformed into patient, continuous motion, joining the steady cycles of air, water, and temperature that sustain the planet. The night feels infinite, serene, and safe, a space where the world can rest in quiet harmony. As the night continues, water flows gently along hidden paths, air drifts softly over fields and forests, and energy spreads evenly across the earth. The storm, once vivid and dramatic, has become part of the steady rhythm of nature, a soft, persistent presence that comforts, nourishes, and calms. In this final quiet, there is a sense of completion, balance, and serenity. The world rests under the vast, open sky, carried by the gentle, eternal lullaby of earth, atmosphere, and ocean, a perfect close to the story of storms, and a soothing invitation to drift into sleep.